Why is it that it seems in our industry, the more conscious you are, the more purpose-driven you are, the more value you have to offer, the more you genuinely care about your clients, the harder it is to make money. Everybody knows that? But there was this perverse thing where I was training with some of the best people in the world, and they're struggling to get clients. And I'm like, but if, better mousetrap, beat a path to the door. This is not supposed to work this way. Right? And as I looked around, I found that basically there were two groups of people in the industry. There were the hard salespeople, who table rush and this, and you got to do it or you're going to fail, and manipulation and hypnosis and this and that, and right? So hard selling. How many people have had experience of hard selling in this industry? Right? Effective, at least until you catch on to it. Right? There's a lot of people who make a lot of money doing that, but very unclean. How many people feel like, that's the opposite of what I want to do? Right. So what I would bet almost everybody in this room does is what I call give up. I'm going to give a taste of my value. I've got some content. Let me give you some content. Oh, let me get this blog out. Oh, can I do a seminar for you? Hey, let me give you back rub. Can I wash your car? How can I give? And nothing comes back. Anybody ever do that? Right? Yes? Come on, be honest. Okay. So this is the dilemma of our industry. Hard sell or give up. Okay? I spent 8 years in the question of why is this, and surely there has to be a third choice. That's what you're going to learn this weekend, is the third choice of how do you attract and enroll high-paying clients in ways that you absolutely love, that's completely transparent, and allows you to do the work you're meant to do here in a clean and effective way. That be worth doing?
Yes.
All right.
Somebody that is really one of the is right next to me. And Yolanda is really one of the foremost experts in the world on determining whether you are the correct person to adopt children. And conversely, how many of you, if you were putting a child up for adoption, you want to know that that your child is going into a home where the parents really care and are the right people to take care of your child. So so that's what Yolanda does.
So that is her goal, is to continue flourishing her freelance consulting business, where she teaches math departments, leaders in math departments, how to really be leaders and connect with other leaders with a real sense of emotional intelligence.
And so let's give it up for Nicole.
Yes? We're pretty good people here? Are you starting to get a sense that you might be one of them? Okay, the defining characteristic of this century is that the amount of change people are required to embrace in order just to have a happy life in one lifetime is more than they can do on their own. 50 years ago, the amount of change required to just have a basic happy life was this much. You could do it on your own. Today, just to have a basic happy life, you have to reinvent yourself so many times that you have to do this much change in order to succeed at life. And that is more than what most people do on their own. So what we're doing, what we're offering, is the core competency required for success in this century. And what we're birthing here in this room is how we take the work that's been developed by the leaders in the transformational industry over the last 50 years and take it in the world so it can spread and it can deliver on its promise. How many of you feel like you can feel that calling of what wants to come through you into the world, through us into the world? You feel the pull of the suffering, the need, the desire to be helped. Yes? Right? So that's what we're doing. We're answering that call. In order to do that, in order to deliver on that calling, we have to find this third choice. We have to find a way of enrolling clients that isn't just dumping value on their heads, because we're going to explain why that doesn't work, and it isn't hard selling, but actually enrolls people through their fears of change. So I'm going to give you an audacious claim that there are just 3 mistakes to avoid and 4 conversations to master in order to have a full, abundant practice. 3 mistakes to avoid, 4 conversations to master. Okay? And those conversations, one of them in particular, can involve some of these marketing things. You can use that to scale and spread or leverage, but you don't need a lot of marketing. You don't need complicated systems because they're fundamentally conversations that you're going to have one person at a time. How many of you are good at having conversations one person at a time? Anybody had actually training, they have degrees in conversations and listening skills and asking questions? And we've got professional listeners in this room, right? So what if we could teach how to enroll clients using exactly the skills that you've already mastered? Take it out of this overwhelm into a set of very simple conversations that you can master one at a time. Would that be valuable? Yes. All right, so let's do it. How do we know this? So I'm still a scientist at heart. I'm still that geek from high school at my core. I'm a bit more of a spiritual scientist now, but also a business scientist. I care about numbers. Okay? And so for the last 5 years, I've been measuring results. But 80% of our graduates create financial breakthroughs over the course of a year. Depending on the class, some classes might be a little lower than that, but almost everybody who graduates our program reports receiving exceptional value, often life-changing. 2 graduate classes we did in 2011, I believe it was. The first group in 6 months, not 12 months, this is the old format, almost doubled their income in 6 months, and the other group more than tripled it, okay, on average. So imagine coming in 6 months, on average, this class more than tripled their income. Okay? There's no one in the industry that I know of that has numbers anywhere close to that. Okay, so thank you. You're not going to hear me bragging about how much money I'm making. I don't care about what I'm making. I care about what you're making. And through that, again, as a translation, how much of an impact you're having. When I see those numbers, what I hear and how I translate that is I help these people double and triple the impact they were having in the world. Okay? That's why I do what I do. I'm a multiplier. My goal is to be a multiplier effect on the work that you do in the world, so together we can make a difference. Is that a game you want to play? Yeah. Okay. So I'm coming at this from Dad. This isn't just me with a couple anecdotes. Stories to make that real. Heather passed away shortly after this, about a year after this. I still honor her with the story. She was one of the most extraordinary transformations I had the honor to support. In 6 months, she went from 0 to almost $100,000 a year. So from 0 to 13 clients and $7,000 a month in 6 months. Susan Ortolano, who's here, was one of our first case studies. She's come back to double dip and grow to the next level. She tripled her income in 6 months from our work together a number of years ago. I've been in my lab tinkering like a mad scientist. And my wife keeps saying, Brian, you're doing the same thing over. No, it's a little bit better this time. And tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. Okay? So let's go through the 3 mistakes and 4 conversations. Okay, and what really got me was she believed the problem was in her. She believed she was broken somehow. That she didn't know enough, that she didn't have enough value, that she wasn't spiritual enough, that she wasn't doing something right. Because surely if she was, then clients would be the path to her door. And what I didn't know this at the time, it took a while for me to figure out, but what I finally discovered was the problem wasn't with her. The problem was with everything she knew about business that had been taught to her. The problem was with the way the business is practiced, it wasn't with her. She was so connected to source that she couldn't do anything that wasn't in full integrity energetically. She couldn't do it. It was better for her to go bankrupt than for her to violate her integrity in that way. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
You feel that? Okay. So if that resonates at all, please know the problem is not in you. It's in the way that you have been trained to do business. Traditional business is the opposite of what we do. That make sense? Okay. So number 1, the first biggest breakthrough that we're going to be working on is teaching you how to do business in a way that you truly love. Okay. So here are the 4 conversations. There's just these 4 conversations at the right time in the right way, in this conscious way, right? Reinventing business in a way that works for us, and recognize that each of these conversations is based on questions, not answers. Right? The master art of coaching is asking great questions. Value lives in the client. If you took one thing away from this weekend, really getting in your body that value doesn't live inside of you. You have an important part to play. It's, fairly required piece of the relationship. But it's not about you, it's not about your solution, it's not about your credentials, it's not about how much time you spend, it's not about how hard you work. You're not getting paid by the hour. Value lives in the client, and the only way you can go find that value is go talk to them and listen to them, to ask them questions, to be in the conversation of what is the inside of value you want to create, and how would we measure it. So you don't need to be an expert, you don't have to have all the right answers, you don't have to be the smartest, most qualified, 27 credentials. Susan Rolano, I'm talking to you.
Brian Whetten, I'm talking to you.
But yes, it's a great question. You have great questions. All of them seem to be answered by the Practice Building Academy that's coming in this next 1 year. So I love, keep bringing those questions on.